Oh, Roland, I think that government has been very modest and we remain focused on the ultimate task. Today, the Cedi is fast appreciating against all the major currencies, including the US dollars. But, Roland, unlike what we have seen in the past where kinky parties were held for even borrowing or successfully taking a loan, the finance minister and his team are very focused. In fact, last week, in a conversation with some members of the team at the finance ministry, they don't seem even satisfied with where we have gotten to, and they are working very hard to ensure that we get to the single figures, within this week or latest by next week. Government has been very deliberate in our approach to the management of the economy, and there is nothing more satisfying than the fact that you get the results for the policies that you are pursuing. And everybody can see clearly that where we are today and what we are seeing with how the economy is being managed is a clear departure from what used to be the case under the previous government. And that is why we are seeing the results. People have been asking that what is the magic wand? Some others have said which particular policy have resulted in this. I agree with you that in analyzing any economy, there are several factors, global factors or external factors, may be part, the internal factors and all of that. But what is happening with the Ghana Cedi today and the appreciation of the Cedi against the major currencies are all due to deliberate policies of government. Because, for example, people are making the argument that the US is in a certain trade war with some other countries like China, and that is why the dollar is depreciating. But there are other currencies that are equally depreciating against the Cedi. And again, even when you go to a country like Nigeria, the US dollar is still appreciating against the Naira. And so it cannot be that a trade war between the United States and China seems to affect Ghana positively but has a negative impact on Nigeria, when indeed the trade volumes between Nigeria and the United States and China are even more than the trade volumes here in Ghana. So it cannot be the external factors. But government has done three things, and I think it's important for us to look at all those three factors. The first thing is the fact that fiscal discipline. In fact, when Honorable Dr. Atto-Forson was sworn in, he kept on hammering on the fact that he wanted to lead a ministry that there will be fiscal discipline. When we talk about fiscal discipline, we are talking about ensuring that you efficiently use the resources of the state. And so people have made the argument that he's not spending. What we are not doing is that we are not recklessly spending, but workers are being paid. Major projects are being catered for, all government interventions, school feeding programs. All these things are still ongoing. And so the fiscal discipline and the fact that the managers of the economy have come to the realization that we must use the resources of the state judiciously and effectively to the benefit of the good people of Ghana. And that is what is happening. The other reason is the fact that we have had an unprecedented inflow of forex. As we speak today, in the first quarter of 2025, gold, the forex inflow from our gold exports hit $5.2 billion. And that represents over 76% increment in the first quarter of last year. So it tells you that something significant is happening. And the magic is that the gold board is today accumulating and exporting more gold and getting in the forex. And so the forex inflows, because forex exchange is as a result of a demand and supply curve. Today we have more dollars coming in because the gold export has hit 5.2 billion. And so the PMMC and now gold board is also partially or partly responsible for this unprecedented appreciation of the cedi against the other major currencies, and it is one of them. The other third reason is the fact that Bank of Ghana, under Dr. Johnson Esiama, has done great work in managing the monetary policy of the state. When they decided to increase the monetary policy rate by 100 basis points, some analysts criticized and thought that it wasn't sustainable, but they've been able to do it. And all these things have led to increase in investor confidence, because investors are seeing that we have a more transparent government. We have a government that is committed to providing a conducive atmosphere for businesses to thrive. We have a government that is committed to the fight against corruption. And you have a Bank of Ghana that is not on a reckless printing of currencies to inject into the economy in order to satisfy some political interest. And so management of the economy has been very effective at all these levels, right from the presidency, the kind of direction, the policy directions that the president himself has provided over the period. The finance ministry is doing extremely well. Gold Board doing a fantastic job. And the Bank of Ghana under Dr. Esiama have shown that within this short period, it is possible for us to manage the economy in such a way that the good people of Ghana will feel the impact of better economic management. Again, on a day like this, I seem to agree with Dr. Bawumia when he said that when the fundamentals of the economy are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
By the fundamentals of the economy.
What it means is that
when
today,
we're talking about the structure of the economy, they haven't really changed.
No, we can talk about the structure of the economy in a different conversation. But we're talking about the fact that
that is why
the fundamentals are weak.
And critics, they say that government has to be cautiously optimistic. And of course, the finance minister is not organizing press conferences.
He's not organizing KK parties and all of that.
You need to make sure key policies for import substitution and things like that are done. Now, in the interim, Edem, is the fact that we still have prices not driving downwards for consumers. Of course, we're not in a controlling price regime, so to speak, within the market. It's a free market economy. But what sort of stakeholder engagement is the government and its assigns, particularly the finance ministry, having, so that entities that tend to represent traders will then have a buy-in in relation to the appreciation we're seeing?
So I think that the prices of goods and services across the various sectors of the economy, in some instances or in some sectors, we have seen a reduction, naturally because of the appreciation of the cedi. So, for example, Roland, if you decide to import a car today, and that car, say, for the purpose of analysis, the car cost you $10,000. A few months ago under the NPP, you needed about 160,000 Ghana cedis to be able to buy that car. But today, you need less than 120,000. And so that in itself is a reduction. And I have seen traders make some of these arguments that today you need less, you need to pay. And I will give you another example of fees. I know some friends of mine who are enrolled on some online courses which universities outside this country. Only last year, they were paying about $3,000 as fees. And for the $3,000, they needed over 50,000 Ghana cedis in order to make that payment. But today, for $3,000, all you need is about 36,000 Ghana cedis. So indeed, prices of goods and services are coming down in some areas. But you see, our economy is import dependent. However, there are various reasons why it may be taking time for the prices of some goods to come down. For example, when you go to Abosokan today, some traders, some spare part dealers have in stock products that they imported last year at the time that the dollar was 16 Ghana cedis. to the city. You understand?
Yeah.
So now, if you imported some spare parts last year at the rate of 16, and today the rate has come down to 11, practically it is very difficult for you to sell the existing stock with the new rate, because when you do that, you may make a loss. And so that some of these arguments are also being made by the traders. But what I think is that with a continuous engagement with Guta and with the various traders, they only want to see the confidence. They have the confidence that this appreciation of the cedi will continue. It's not going to be a 9-day wonder. And that will eventually lead to price falls in many places. Again, fuel prices have come down. I have seen that transport fares have come down. I was in a constituency over the weekend. Traders told me, travelers told me that prices, transport fares have come down. And so we may not see it in all aspects of the economy immediately, but because the management of the economy is not just a one-day activity, we have the confidence that as we progress, many more sectors will begin to see significant price reductions, which will be a reflection of how the economy is being managed.
How excessively or comprehensively should these stakeholder engagements be undertaken so that there's a win-win and no loss on either side, so to speak, especially from the point of government to these various sector associations who represent the trade and commerce industry, so that consumers too will have some relief?
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning, and wish my colleagues here a good morning. Yeah, so the question is such as how intensive should the engagement of government be with the obviously it needs to be intensive, because at the end of the day, for us consumers, the relevance of these interventions that have led to the appreciation of the cedi will be useless if it does not reflect in a commensurate reduction in our cost of living. So yes, so I think that it is in the interest of all of us. It is in the interest of government itself, because having done so well, because when you analyze what an economy is and the role government plays in the economy, and if you understand that the role government plays in terms of the fiscals, in terms of the monetary policy, I think that it is, we need to commend the government for what, in my opinion, has been a fantastic job. But then it is necessary that at least this fantastic job reflects in our cost of living. And so I think it is important that government engages them. Also, I think if there's a time for us to have a discussion about antitrust policies, comprehensive antitrust policies, I think now is the time. I think it is essential that we recall that sometime last year, when this issue of pricing and monopoly and things happened, if you recall, this issue came up with the cement issue. I think the minister then strangely was proposing price control. And then some of us were surprised, because we felt that if there was a time for us to have a comprehensive discussion about the need for us as a people to entrench or to create our laws or antitrust laws and policies, then the time was now to at the end of the day protect consumers. So yes, government has now, I think the communication must be intensified, but I think that if there's a time for us to push for antitrust laws to at least institutionalize the protection of consumers, then this is the time. Because as in have the cedi appreciated by over 24%, understand, and not feel that in our pockets, you understand, will be very unfortunate. But having said that,
I think it's 25%.
It's 25%. Yeah. So I think it is important that we push for comprehensive antitrust laws. So at least we institutionally we can find a way of protecting the interest of consumers. But I think it will be very important for me to also comment about this, should I say, propaganda, asking government to show a policy that has caused the appreciation of the cedi. It is surprising that anybody want to go on that tangent.
What's your point?
And the point is that things don't happen
out of the vacuum.
Yeah, things, as in we should, it is important that we need to understand that things always, as in when things happen, there's always a reason. Things don't happen, because you see, in the way we will speak, and allow me to use my local language, there's something we say, Roland, we need Sika, and then we just say it, but we need Sika because of a reason. Understand? Things don't happen in vacuums, like you rightly said. And so if the city has appreciated in this manner, and as radically as it has, and there must be a reason, and we should not encourage the kind of communication that seems to suggest that it's happening because of chance. No, it's not happening because of chance. Because you take the U.S. Trade war and how it has impacted on the U.S. dollar itself. Generally, the U.S. dollar has depreciated about 5.1%. For the same period when the city has appreciated over 25.1%. It's important for us to understand what confidence does to your currency. Because if you recall, last year when we were having the campaign, we made this case forcefully. And one of the reasons why we need change was so that we will restore confidence, the confidence of the people of Ghana in our economy. Last year, as in from 2016 until the end of last year, FDIs reduced from about 3.2 billion to about 600 million. If you needed evidence of the extent to which confidence in the economy sank to an all-time low, that was it. So just changing government alone and certain comments government has made, outside of the three policies Edem rightly pointed to us, you have a president that has come out and said that, listen, buffer stock, school feeding, do not buy imported products. Do you know the impact of just that statement alone on the economy? Because that statement alone reduces the need for dollar within the system. You understand? So I think the opposition won't be helping all of us and themselves if they keep on driving this agenda of government should show the policies that have led to the what's called appreciation of the city. But having said that, I think that we need to direct our discussion to ways in which we can institutionalize the protection of consumers. I think if there's a time for us to push the need for us to have an antitrust, a robust antitrust regime, then the time is now. Because without that, then we can't have an institution, you can't have a structured system that can deal with what's called issues that will cause our prices not to come down when clearly the cost of doing business or in terms of purposes have been reduced.
All right. So at the end of the day, we also know that even for local entrepreneurs or small businesses, the base for their raw materials, even if they have to undertake local manufacturing, largely also would have to be imported.